Yo, guys, I hope you're well. So, guys, the clip we're going to have a look at, I haven't actually listened to or watched yet, but it's titled Keir Starmer Attacks Farage Over His Economic Plans. So, yesterday, Nigel Farage took to the hustings, should we say, and he gave a brief essay on his economic plans about what Reform UK would do and implement if Reform UK were voted into power. And it seems that Keir Starmer is a little bit rattled because he's come out here and he's doing his normal pose in his open-necked shirt, top button undone, trying to persuade the voters to maintain the course and stay with Labour and not step to Reform UK. But this raises another issue for me, and I don't know if it's going to be raised here by I was about to say Nigel, but I meant to say Keir Starmer. And that is the issue on what I have seen, and I'm speaking to people from mid to higher management, on how difficult it is for people at that level. I'm not talking about anyone at the level below because I don't know that. I haven't spoken to anyone yet, to be honest with you. But on mid and high management to get roles in the workplace now. So hopefully Keir Starmer will bring that up in his little talk here. But if not, I want to say one or two words about it because it's just come up on my radar and it's quite an interesting take, which I hope to share with you. Anyway, let's listen to what Keir Starmer's got to say about Nigel Farage's economic plans.
I've always said I will fight for every job. I know how important a good, well-paid job is.
So straight away, so it looks like he's in St Helens, Merseyside, giving the speech. And Keir Starmer has said he's going to fight for every job because he knows how important every job is. Well, that kind of segues into what I was saying before about how the job market seems to have stagnated, particularly at the mid to high level. Apparently, it's taken a very long time for there to be a turnover of jobs, but I won't mention that until after Keir Starmer speaks.
I will fight for every job. I know how important a good, well-paid job is. That's what drives me. But you can't say that about Nigel Farage. I mean, this is the man who said that Jaguar Land Rover deserve, his word, to go bust. And he said that because he didn't like an advert that they made. This is a company at the absolute forefront of British engineering. And he says they deserve to go bust.
So I'm not going to comment entirely on Keir Starmer accusing Nigel Farage about Jaguar and whether or not he wanted them to go bust or not. But it looks to me like Keir Starmer was picking and choosing, almost like a pick and mix, about which companies would benefit from a deal with the US, a deal with India, etc., etc. Whereas the broad landscape, if you take everything and stretch it out into a broad landscape, I don't know how many companies will benefit and how many companies won't. But as anything, everyone likes to cherry pick. So Keir Starmer's cherry picking Jaguar Land Rover, saying that this deal was great for them. But for every company that the deal is great for, there are other areas and other companies that fall through the cracks or the crevices. So what we wanted was Keir Starmer to get a deal which was good for all companies and for all business and to encourage economic growth, not just the cherry pick companies. That's how I'm seeing this. So yeah, I understand why he's cherry picking, but is that a good thing? Let me know in the comment section.
British engineering. And he says they deserve to go bust. And that's the question you have to ask about Nigel Farage. Can you trust him? Can you trust him with your future? Can you trust him with your jobs? Can you trust him with your mortgages, your pensions, your bills? And he gave the answer on Tuesday. A resounding no.
you can actually turn that question back on Keir Starmer. Can you trust Starmer on your future, your pensions, your bills, your mortgages? Let me know down here in the comments section.
He set out economic plans that contained billions upon billions of completely unfunded spending. Precisely the sort of irresponsible splurge that sent your mortgage cost, your bills, and the cost of living through the roof.
So he's just said about the spending that Nigel Farage is looking at, which hasn't been really costed and planned and meted out. Isn't this the same thing we had with the Labour Party when they came into power? But the only difference is the Labour Party started, what's that word that Keir Starmer always says, that they crow from the sidelines? I can't remember the word, which is a shame, because I should remember he says it all the time. But didn't Keir Starmer and the rest of his merry gang keep going on about a £22 billion black hole, which had affected their ability to cost out all their spending plans? Isn't it a little bit hypocritical what Keir Starmer's saying? I don't know. Let me know in the comments section.
Sent your mortgage cost, your bills, and the cost of living through the roof. It's Liz Truss all over again. Now, in opposition, we said that she would crash the economy and leave you to pick up the bill. And we were right. And we were elected to fix that mess.
Elected to fix that mess. Really?
Now in government, we're once again fighting the same fantasy, this time from Farage.
So it looks like Starmer has turned his vitriol away from Kemi Badenoch and the Conservative Party towards Nigel Farage and Reform UK. So depending on how you feel, you could potentially turn everything that Keir Starmer's just said back onto the Labour Party. So what he's accusing Reform UK of, can we not say the same about the Labour Party? I don't know. Let me know down here in the comments section. It's all up in the air what's going on. But what has hit me, guys, and I'm going to read it on here, if you don't mind. So, yeah. I'm just looking at it here. And this is on a very famous platform, work platform, which I'm not going to say what it is, because I don't think it's fair. But the global talent lead has said it has taken 12 months, an average 12 months for people to get hired. That is far too long in any sphere, in my opinion. Excuse me, I'm not very well. Sorry about this, guys. I'm not well again, so I hope you can hear me. But basically, this global talent lead said it's taken an average 12 months for people to get hired. And this is the job market we see today in 2025. And in his words, he said it's no longer a job search. It's a full-time job without pay. So what he's saying is a full-time job without pay is looking for a job or looking for a new role is a full-time job in which you're working full-time, but you're getting no reward whatsoever for doing. And apparently there was a poll last week on this platform and the results were telling. So on average, so I'm just reading this. Sorry about this, guys. So it says here, so 54% said it took over 6 months for them to get a new role. The jobs market is pretty brutal right now. Companies are still cautious. The hiring process can be painfully slow. Ghosting is rampant, both from companies and candidates alike. And to be honest with you, I am new to all these new fandangled words and phrases. I didn't even know what ghosting was until very recently. Apparently, ghosting is where people don't respond to your calls and messages. Is that right? If I got it wrong, let me know down in the comment section, guys. I think ghosting basically means that if people send out communications and communicates to people, they get nothing in response. So they don't know whether or not that person's received it, but they're definitely not responding. That's what I think it means. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section. And apparently roles are flooded with more than 500 applicants. Oftentimes applicants are in the thousands. So it's almost like a needle in a haystack. You apply for a role, but there are already 1,000 candidates or 500 candidates applying for each and every role. And many jobs never even get advertised. And I've spoken to a couple of friends over the last while, actually more than a couple. Not only are a lot of jobs not advertised, but a lot of jobs that are advertised, and even if these people be lucky enough to get a job interview, a lot of the roles seem to have been already filled internally. So are they just meeting the criteria by advertising a job that they're already passing on to someone internal? I don't know. But it seems to happen as well with hiring managers. So people are going through the application process and getting stumped with the hiring managers because sometimes the roles change or the process changes and the process is so long-winded. Sometimes I've heard people 5, 6, 7 interviews phase. Incredible. It's crazy. So yeah, as much as Keir Starmer's talking about he's an advocate of jobs and he's doing his best to get people jobs, I think from the other side of the lens, should we say the other side of the lens, we need to look at how we deal with the hiring and the machinery around getting people into work. So we have a lot of people who are looking for roles, new roles, first-time roles, etc., etc., and they've been stumped at the first hurdle. They're not getting past that hiring stage. They're not even getting to an interview stage. So we need to look at that and to make the process a lot more streamlined, a lot smoother, a lot quicker, because there are people who would definitely want to do these roles, but sometimes the roles don't seem to exist. And even around the recruitment stage as well, there's apparently a lot of ghosting going on. So it's getting to be a bit of a... Now, what do people say? I was going to say a bun fight, but maybe bun fight is not the right word to say. But it looks like there are a lot of obstacles in the way of this process. So people looking for a new job, they feel that they fit the criteria for the position, but they're up against 500 to 1,000 other applicants and candidates. And even if they do get past that process to the hiring manager stage, there are still obstacles and bumps in the road. And then even on the interview process itself, and after the interview, apparently it comes back that the job has been filled by someone internal or there is no job. We need to change that and sort it out to make the process a lot more streamlined, a lot smoother, and a lot quicker. So if you've got any thoughts, suggestions on that, please let me know down here in the comments section. It's just quite interesting to see here that Keir Starmer is attacking Nigel Farage over economic plans, but it looks like there's a bigger picture here. It looks like the market. So you've got the jobs market, you've got the economic market as well. Everyone is on tenterhooks. No one knows 100% what to do. Do we stick? Do we twist? We need to help all these companies and everyone get over that hurdle to get this process moving, because what you want is for everything to be moving in a circle and not to come into a dead hole and hit a cul-de-sac. Because what we look now is like there's some kind of cul-de-sac log jam. Things aren't improving anytime soon. So guys, just going to see if there's anything more on here. Okay, there's some comments here saying like the market is brutal. It's a tough market. So I don't normally read from my mobile phone, people. Yeah, certainly longer than anticipated. Ghosting, AI hiring bots, all annoying. Wow. So yeah, there's lots to take on here. So I might just put this up on the end of this video. But yeah, so going back to what was said in the pros from Keir Starmer, it looks like he's turning all of his big guns on Nigel Farage. It looks like Kemi Badenoch is now in the rear view. she's amongst the also-rans. So Nigel Farage is now turning, sorry, so Keir Starmer, sorry, sorry guys, I'm not well. So Keir Starmer is turning his full attention on Nigel Farage. So things could get really interesting over the next few weeks and months. And it's going to be interesting to see, because I think Nigel Farage said at his speech that Keir Starmer looked down at his notes about 50 times or so at one of his last meetings, etc. Whereas Nigel Farage is one of those people like your Donald Trumps who can speak eloquently, and he can speak efficiently, and he can speak engagingly for as long as you want him without any notes. So this is something that's going to be interesting to see, especially around areas such as Prime Minister's question time. And I think Nigel Farage said it was a bit unfair as well. And this is why I have a problem with PMQs. It's a bit unfair because Keir Starmer can call out as many times. So if you ask Keir Starmer a question about energy, you ask Keir Starmer a question about policing, about the justice system, about prisons, this, that, and everything else, he can use this, and I've seen him, he does this a lot, to call out the SNP, the Scottish Nationalists. He's called out Nigel Farage. He doesn't really call out the Lib Dems because, well, and it's that area. But Nigel Farage is saying he has only one question he's allowed to ask in PMQs, and he can't refer back to anything that Keir Starmer says to him. So you see how it's weighted in the favour of whoever is in power. So the SNP, Reform UK, etc., and you get one question, one chance to ask a question, and they don't get any chance to respond. So that's another area of PMQs that I'm looking at, which doesn't hold water with me. But guys, I'm sorry I meandered a little bit around. I'm not feeling too great. My mind is a little bit buzzing, hither, thither. Bit of like a hive mind, if you want to call it that. But I hope you got that. So just watching that interview there with Keir Starmer, or speech really with Keir Starmer, it looks like he is now full attack mode against Nigel Farage. So the next few weeks and months and years are going to be extremely interesting. So guys, make certain you look after yourselves, you look after each other, and I'll see you at the next one.